Let's bring Larry Kudlow. He's director of the National Economic Council, very familiar with live television, and he joins us right now on something he used to not be able to do when he was on CNBC. Larry, one thing is good. You're always an upbeat, confident guy, and so is the American public. 53% of the American public feels confident about the economy. Why do you think that is?
God, I love that. I hadn't heard that number. That's a great new number. Well, look, the economy's in a strong prosperity cycle. You had, in the last week or so, huge job numbers, tremendous boom in consumer spending. Looks like a big new pickup in manufacturing. People have more money in their pocket. Their take-home pay is going up with tax cuts. I think they're happy campers, Brian. I mean, I think people have a very optimistic view, and I think the policies are working. We're proud of that. So I'm just expecting more of the same, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's great news for our country. Now, yesterday, you and the president, you met with the CEOs from 7 major telecom companies. Tell us about that meeting and what you discussed.
You know, that's a really interesting meeting. We had the top telecom people, yes. We had the chip makers, semiconductor makers. So a couple of quick things here. First of all, it was very positive. They were very supportive of the president's program with respect to restrictions on Huawei, the Chinese telephone maker, which has become a major national security issue. As you know, Huawei has very strong ties to the Chinese government and its military. We have to deal with that. We put them on the entity list. We curbed a lot of the transactions. Now, those guys yesterday were very positive. They were very supportive. Their only real ask was that as we've opened up the non-national security aspects of selling equipment to Huawei, that we can speed it up a little bit, that the Commerce Department will process applications so they can speed things up. Other thing that just struck me, they like what they're doing on 5G. They want to help us with respect to getting 5G out all across the country, including the rural areas. And another thing that surprised me, I mean, there's a lot of competition in business, as you know. I believe the president asked them, how are the big telecoms doing, who are buying the spectrum band and are going to do the build-out, right. Principally AT&T and Verizon and some others. And they thought they were doing a good job, so they want to help us get 5G out. They're going to cooperate with the Huawei restrictions, but they're asking it in places where they can sell, no national security implications. Can we get the licensing done? So it was really a terrific meeting.
All right. Listen, the news out of Washington, money-wise, the big news out of Congress is that the president and Democrats have reached a 2-year budget deal that raises the debt ceiling. It gets the whole debt crisis thing past the election, which is what everybody apparently wanted. But Larry, it continues to be a spendapalooza down there. You know, whatever the big number is now, it's $320 billion over that. What happened?
What, Brian, what was that word? I'm sorry, I missed that. Was that in the college SAT?
That was Steve's word. It was Steve's word.
Spendapalooza. All right. No, I got it. I think so. That's almost as good as growthier, but we'll have to compare. So, okay, we never get the spending restraints that we'd like to get. But I must say, in the difficult atmosphere today, one of the key things that Steve Mnuchin, Treasury Secretary Mnuchin, we got a 2-year extension on the debt limit, so there's no threat to our credit standing. And by the way, in terms of the overall budget numbers, they're really manageable. I mean, look, in the marketplace, a 10-year Treasury bond is 2%, more or less. That is not a panic number. That's an historic
Yeah, but Larry,
low.
wouldn't you like the number to be going the other way?
Well, I think as a share of GDP, it is going the other way. So it's running about 4.5%. The deficit is running about 4.5% of GDP. In the last 10 years or so, I don't want to get partisan, I'm just saying that thing's gotten as high as 10% of GDP. As the economy works its way back, all right, as we get to rebuild the economy, as we get growth in this prosperity cycle, I think you'll see a shrinkage in the budget gap.
Larry,
we need to restrain spending more. But, you know, the numbers weren't there. So Mnuchin and Speaker Pelosi and others worked together I think, you know, political, it's the art of the possible. We did about as good as we can do, and there's not going to be any debt default.
Larry, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, we've heard $15 minimum wage. Now she's saying, how about $20 an hour? One of my best friends owns some restaurants down in Florida, and I wrote her and I said, what do you think about this? Would you be able to survive? She said, quote, that would kill us. I don't know that we could survive having to pay that. Actually, I'm quite sure we wouldn't. Then they would not have any jobs.
Well, okay, interesting point. Look, actually, a recent study by the Congressional Budget Office, when you have these big increases in the national federal minimum wage, yes, some jobs, some wages go up for, you know, some set number of millions of workers, but we also lose millions of jobs because a lot of these businesses, small businesses, can't afford it. Look, here's the Kudlow remedy for minimum wage. You ready? I'm ready. You need to take notes here. Pull the pencils out, please. This is very important. We have tremendous prosperity. We are growing across the board. Unemployment is down. Wages are up. Consumers are booming. It's across the board. Every conceivable subgroup, African Americans, Hispanic, Asians, and so forth, less educated, less skilled, are doing the best.
And then wages go up naturally.
So we can have an unlimited minimum wage through private sector prosperity. You look at some of these big companies, you know, Walmart.
Hey, Larry, you know what it's like to
others.
be against a hard break, right?
I'm going to give you a hard break. I'm going to say $15 to $20 minimum wage because of private sector prosperity. That is the best way to do it, and that's where we're going.
It's a wrap. Let's go to break. Now you can go to the green room. Thank you.
Thank you.